Ladies and gentlemen, 5 people are dead. Last night we only knew of 1 fatality. Now we know of 5 people are dead and 45 are injured when an SUV went and plowed through a group of people that were celebrating Christmas. Washika, Wisconsin, an idyllic, nice little Midwestern community that was struck by a horrific attack, a brutal, senseless murder of 5 people that we know of right now. We are already seeing right now corporate media attempt to spin this narrative, and it is grotesque. It is sickening to the soul to watch how quickly the corporate media attempts to downplay specific narratives, how quickly they rush to other narratives, and how little you are going to hear about this. They're going to try and delete this story in real time. So right now you're starting to see the complete whitewashing of this story. You are not going to hear about the attacker's radical past, criminal record, why he was free. He was out on $1,000 bail because of George Soros. You're not going to hear about bail reform. You're not going to hear about his past posts against cops and pro-BLM. None of it fits the narrative. None of it fits the narrative. So we're going to talk about it here so that I, at the very least, have the moral clarity to say that when this happened and when innocent people died, including members of the Dancing Grannies, yes, that's right, children and members of a little Dancing Grannies group, elderly women who dance with pom-poms. This monster, his name's Darrell Brooks Jr., 39 years old, ran them over with his SUV. What do we know about the attacker? Well, we know he's a career criminal dating back to the 1990s. Brooks has a criminal history. I'm reading to you from the Daily Mail right now. He is a rapper. He was driving an SUV. He's 39, and he was out on bail. 2 days having been released from jail, out on bail, $1,000. Why? This seems crazy. Why is this person out on bail when he has a litany of charges? His rap sheet is as long as my arm. Why is this person able to commit crime and get released? Commit crime, get released. Commit crime, get released. Well, George Soros's DA is is pushing bail reform across the nation. So let's start with the absolute reason why this person was out on the street. This person was out on the street because the district attorney in Wisconsin is one of these George Soros appointed district attorneys who is working to make sure that dangerous criminals get sprung and released out into the public as quickly as possible once they are booked. Once we know that they're a dangerous criminal, they get sprung once more into the public. His name is John Chisholm. John Chisholm is the district attorney in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. A Soros-affiliated district attorney, John Chisholm, directly responsible for what happened in the horror that left 5 dead. Authorities are now claiming that Brooks was fleeing the scene of another crime, a knife crime. And now the official narrative is that David Edward Brooks Jr. was just fleeing somewhere. He was just a bad driver. It is grotesque. You should be horrified by this. You should be sickened by this. He is a felon with sex offender records and a lengthy criminal background, including counts of felony domestic abuse, sex offenses, resisting an officer, and possession of cocaine. His name is Darrell Brooks Jr. Here are his mugshots. You will not see this man's mugshot in the corporate media because it doesn't fit the narrative. Who is the mass murderer who drove through murdering little old women inside of a Christmas parade? Who is Darrell Brooks Jr.? Reading to you from CNN.com. Breaking news. 5 people have died and 40 are injured after an SUV plowed through a holiday parade in Washika, Wisconsin. An SUV! How convenient. Yet here we have a man with an extremely long history of anti-cop, pro-BLM, black nationalist rhetoric. And what does CNN blame? This man is a career criminal. There is no other way about it. And the DA, the George Soros-funded district attorney, let him out on bail after a career of criminality that dates back to the 90s. What does CNN say is the cause of the death? An SUV. Reading to you again from CNN breaking news. 5 people have died and more than 40 are injured after an SUV plowed through a holiday parade in Washika, Wisconsin. Not a man, not a person, not a career criminal, not a radical activist, leftist activist. If you want to see how things are treated if you want to see the true bias in the news, look at a moment like this, where nothing lines up into their narrative. If this man was white, if this man had a MAGA hat on, if this man voted for Republicans, if this man had a Gadsden flag sticker on his car, it would be seen as right-wing extremism and right-wing violence and white nationalism. They would twist it in any way, shape, or form to fit it into that narrative. That is the narrative that gives them power. This is how you lose your country. We saw the exact same thing with James T. Hodgkinson, and this is how I'll end. I personally went through James T. Hodgkinson's entire social media history, nothing but anti-Trump, psychotic leftist rhetoric. But is he seen as a far left-wing attacker? Do you hear about far left-wing violence? Do you ever hear about it? No. It doesn't fit the media narrative. It doesn't fit the narrative. So you never hear his name. You'll never hear his name ever again. They brushed him under the rug. And now this guy, because he fits the narrative of a BLM activist, black nationalist, Malcolm X supporting, anti-cop, race hatred guy, radicalized by whom? I don't know. But if you tune in to corporate media, all you hear is about race, hate, and strife, day and night, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Radicalized by that same poison, that same venom. They're injecting it into our society, and these attacks are happening. And then as soon as these attacks happen, they sweep it under the rug. No. The only way we prevent these attacks from happening again is when we, as a culture, demand. It's like a Labrador. You take their nose and you rub it in it, right? When the Labrador defecates somewhere it isn't supposed to. When the dog defecates in it, you rub their nose in it. We must, as a society, make the left own the radicalization that they are fomenting and the death and destruction caused by it. We as Republicans and conservatives and just pure patriots did not do this during the BLM riots. We did not do this. We just let them escape. We did not make them own it. And now you have this. More blood on the hands of this worldview and sick ideology. Thank you for watching. We are 100% independent news. Are you sick of being lied to? We certainly are. That's why we started this channel. But we can't do it without you. We can't keep going without your help. All we ask is that you click like and subscribe and share this video. It's free and it keeps us going. It keeps us growing. And it keeps us getting the truth out there to break the rotted corporate media infrastructure that wants to lie to you every single day, wants to corrupt your narratives, your truth, your story, and your very society. So support us by clicking like, clicking subscribe, and thank you, Patriots.